Back in the midst of time, a group of motorcycle enthusiasts got together in the northwest to hold a road race. Their aim then was to prepare man and machine for the Isle of Man TT. That was in 1929, and today the Northwest 200 is part of our sporting heritage. Hello and welcome to the Northwest 200 and Ireland's biggest sporting event. It's an occasion too that brings together professional and amateur rider, world champion and enthusiast to dice together on what is one of the quickest road circuits in the British Isles. Now, the 250, 350cc bikes preparing for the first race. Before we join our commentator Keith Ewan, let's take a look at what lies ahead of our racers, and we join our eye in the sky. And immediately off the grid, you'll see the riders wind the bikes up towards Primrose Hill. Slight rise, perhaps you can't pick it up there from the eye in the sky. Bikes touching speeds of 100 miles an hour there. Well, the big bikes anyway, the super bikes. They're cutting down the speed then as they approach York Corner, slowest corner in the course, sharp left-hand bend, always in the bottom gear. From York Corner then, they're heading out. First look at the countryside, heading out to Station Corner. That's the old Cremore halt, for those of you that remember it. Joey Dunlop claims that on a good day he can take that flat out in 5th gear. But here they are, braking hard, going around University Corner now, up the Link Road, approaching Ballysally roundabout. That's what we know it from the maps. However, the riders call it the Magic Roundabout. And there's the reason why they're going round the roundabout the wrong way, touching speeds there of 60, 70 miles an hour and preparing for the quickest straight on the course. Next point to mark is Mather's Cross, trickiest corner on the course perhaps because of the high speeds they achieve. They've just gone through the speed trap there, 190 miles an hour through the speed trap, the big bikes cutting hard into Metropole Corner. Tricky little bit of the course this, out of Metropole round up to Church Corner. They wind their way up through Church Corner and here they are approaching Juniper Chicane. And it's back into 2nd gear for this chicane, one of 2 chicanes put in for safety reasons to slow the bikers down. Coming around there maybe 50, 60 miles an hour as they approach the start finish. We approach the grid. Let's join Keith Ewan now for race commentary.
Well, a great start there for some of them. That's Jerry Brennan up on the curve there, but Joey Dunlop at the back there, number 3, left pushing. He seized his motorcycle on the warm-up lap and could not start it, and in fact was a retirement on the first lap. No trouble for this man, though. Down into York hairpin now. That's Stephen Hazlett leading from number 1, Ian Locker, the Welshman. Great start from both of them. No trouble at York at this point as they head out Mill Road up to Station Bend, which was one of the fastest corners, right-hander. Very, very difficult indeed, especially for these lightweight motorcycles if it's a little bit windy, which it's not today. So here come the leaders down towards Station Bend, a very quick right-hander, and they're slipstreaming all the way down into this turn. Oh, and it's very close indeed. I will try to guess who's going to lead down into University, which is the next left-hander. And here we come into University, braking really hard for this left-hander. Number 1, Locker, who is the current lap record holder, looks for the inside line on number 11, Stephen Hazlett, and they're all over the place. Heading out towards the roundabout now. Number 1, the Welshman, Locker, leads into the Ballysally roundabout. Very smooth surface. No problems from any of the bikes on this particular surface. Flick right out onto what is now the fastest part of the course and the most death-defying corner, which is the Mather's Cross turn. Through the speed trap and side by side down towards Metropole, 160 mile an hour from these 250 motorcycles. They're all slipstreaming to try and jockey for position, and McCallan is on the inside line, but no, it's Hazlett that holds Metropole for his own, and Locker takes a tight line looking for the inside of McCallan, but no, McCallan shuts the door on his face as they head out towards Church. Church Corner then. Slowed down in modern times as it was a very quick corner and too many walls about, up under the bridge and out to the seafront. And this really is the last opportunity for any slipstreaming, and McCallan looks for a slipstreaming manoeuvre along the seafront, down towards the Juniper chicane, which has obviously been put in for safety reasons. And McCallum looks for the inside line, then the outside line. Our overhead camera demonstrating just how important slipstreaming is. They'll all spread out across the track as they get towards the Juniper chicane, jockeying for position, as that's really the last place that they can do it before the start and finish area. And through the chicane, not up and over the curb just yet, and McCallum gets the dry out of the chicane, gets more speed out of the chicane, and looks to drive round the outside of Hazlett down towards the start and finish chicane. Well, I said that they wouldn't make a passing manoeuvre along there. I was completely wrong. McCallum leads, Hazlett second, Locker third. Through the very tricky start and finish chicane area. This is where we all have heart-stopping moments. Up against the curb, and McCallum hits the curb, sideways on and touches the curb. He won't get away with too many of them. Up Primrose Hill towards York Corner. And here we are again, and Hazlett dives to the inside at York Corner on the brakes, but I don't think he's going to get it, is he? McCallum shuts the door across his face. No, thank you, sir. You're not making a passing manoeuvre here. And here we are at Station. Station, my favourite turn on the course. Over the humps and bumps, looking for where can we get in the draft. And it's number 4, Robert Dunlop, passes on the inside at Station. Ian Locker, the Welshman and lap record holder, is blown off into Station Corner. And here we are at University, and who's going to make the break? Hazlett looks for the inside line. McCallum is right out on the racing line, and Locker passes Robert Dunlop, sneaks the inside line from Robert Dunlop while they pass up the link to the roundabout. So McCallum leads into Ballysally roundabout. A clear lead now. I don't think for one moment that he's going to hold it for too long as they pass on out to the fastest part of the course, up to Mather's Cross. And here we are at Metropole as they fight for position down into Metropole. Lots of slipstreaming. They're trying to look for the still air behind the rider in front of them to make the passing manoeuvre on these 160 mile an hour 250cc motorcycles. The 350s are nowhere in it in this class. So Robert Dunlop has forced his way to the front, so he's gone from 4th to 1st, all in the space of a straight. But McCallum's having nothing of it. McCallum leads from Robert Dunlop, number 4, from Ian Locker, number 1. Into Church Corner. Up Black Hill, under the bridge and to the seafront. And that's Dave Leach right at the back there. Dave Leach, he must have had a problem early on. He's well back. Don't forget Joey Dunlop, a retirement early on in this race. Well, you can see there from the crowd, what an atmospheric place to come to. The Northwest 200, this opening 250 race, absolutely superb for the spectators. Here we are at the start and finish, and Locker's in front. Number 1, Locker leads McCallum. Well, where on earth did he manage to do that? Locker, McCallum. Number 2, that is Brian Reed. Brian Reed has forced his through into second place. Where did Brian Reed come from, we wonder? Out towards the slowest corner on the track, York hairpin, where we're likely to see some more passing manoeuvres. Locker brakes hard on the inside of the track, followed by McCallum. Philip McCallum looking very, very good indeed here today.
The average is at the end of lap 5.
Out to Station. Locker still leads. On lap 6, the last lap. That's our favourite backmarker, number 28. That's Martin Birkinshaw. And Robert Dunlop leads now. Robert Dunlop snatches the lead down into University. Can he hold it from McCallum? McCallum looking very determined indeed. Locker in 3rd place. Robert Dunlop leads along the link out onto the hard shoulder part of the track. Very dusty out there. Perhaps not advisable to be out there if you want to turn in too hard into the roundabout. Robert Dunlop, number 4, leads. This is where he could lose his lead, the slipstream effect. It's not always advisable to be in front on this part of the track, as everybody behind you will be trying to get in that still air and make the manoeuvre down into Metropole, but no, Dunlop has got a lap record. Dunlop has broken the lap record as McCallum goes underneath Locker for 2nd place. Locker forced back into 3rd. Dunlop eking out a lead on this last lap at Church. So, Dunlop, McCallum, Locker. lead up Black Hill, onto the front for the last time, through Juniper. Juniper Hill, chicane. I'd be surprised if we see a last-minute passing manoeuvre here. Dunlop certainly looks as if he's got it under control. Robert Dunlop, number 4 leads number 9, Philip McCallan. And Dunlop holds it. Any one of 4 riders could have won this race, but Robert Dunlop shows his mastery of the roads and absolutely times it to perfection.
There's so much slipstream and I'm overtaken down the straight, so me and Ian Locker got tangled up a time down the back straight there, about 150 mile an hour, so it's a bit hairy.
Well, superb race. We're all sweating here, just like the same as you. Well done indeed.
Thank you.
So, a local victory and a lap record. Now, a crowd of up to 70,000 here today and a buzz of expectancy around the course. It's the first of the 2 superbike races. Carl Fogarty, Robert Dunlop again, Joey Dunlop, Trevor Nation and Niall Mackenzie. Keith, you could have hardly picked a better team yourself.
No, I couldn't, Paul. One of the strongest and most varied fields we've seen here at the Northwest 200 for many a year. The Nortons versus Hondas, basically. And I'm really looking forward to this. And they're off, and Nation gets a flyer of a start, but it's Fogarty into the lead from Joey Dunlop, down towards Primrose Hill. This is going to be a very, very hectic 750 superbike race. Big wheelie from Fogarty, a bit of a trademark, but look who's that sticking out the inside. It's Trevor Nation, number 5 on the first of the Nortons. Fogarty leads round York Hairpin for the first time, followed by that gangly and aggressive rider, Trevor Nation.
Like he meant business from the word go. As soon as that machine moved, he nailed his head right behind the screen and he let it have.
Here we are at Station Corner. Fogarty leads from Nation with Joey Dunlop forcing his way out the inside and Robert Dunlop on the other Norton, number 4 behind them. And there's a sign that we're getting the first spots of rain of the day. That's a disappointment for all as they head towards University, and Fogarty on the inside from Joey Dunlop, Honda's lead Norton. And Neil Mackenzie, ex-Grand Prix star, heads up the slip road. That's the first indication we've had of any problems in this race so far. So Fogarty leads Dunlop round the roundabout. They look as if they're taking it a little bit steady through there. Fogarty leads out into the countryside with fellow Honda rider Dunlop in his tracks, but Nation chases hard. Up the link road with the back markers. Everybody looks like they're checking the track out very closely at this point. We've had a few spots of rain here now, which makes road conditions very, very tricky indeed. There is confirmation. Down into Metropole. Fogarty leads from Joey Dunlop with the Nortons homing in. 190 miles an hour, 12 mile an hour, faster than any of the Hondas. But it's Joey that leads, but Carl Fogarty, as ever, aggressive on the brakes, and Trevor Nation sticks it over Joey Dunlop. Well, that really is a confirmation of Nation's determination. And Nation's looking at Fogarty, he's waving at Fogarty. Fogarty has a problem, and Nation is trying to warn him of it into Church Corner. And isn't it amazing that they can actually wave to each other at racing speeds around this road circuit? Of course, safety being paramount here. And let's have another look at Trevor Nation, pointing to the rear end of the motorcycle to say that Carl Fogarty has an oil leak. Carl Fogarty then raises his arm to indicate that Joey Dunlop is pulling out of this particular race. So Joey Dunlop leads from Trevor Nation, from Robert Dunlop and from the charging Ian Simpson in 4th place, through Juniper Hill chicane and down towards the start and finish. Oh, and Trevor Nation tries very hard on the exit of Juniper Hill. Down towards the start and finish chicane. The Honda definitely handles better along this section. The Nortons struggle all the way. And you can see the crowd waving away their programs there. A very popular lead this is by Joey Dunlop. And look at Ian Simpson challenging Robert Dunlop at the back of this. Along the seafront again, up Juniper Hill. Look at the programs, the crowd love this. And into the pits pulls Dave Leach. Dave Leach in the pits. Meanwhile, Joey Dunlop down to York Hairpin. And Trevor Nation with the back wheel skittering on the top of the tarmac there from over excessive braking into York Hairpin and up out into the countryside again.
Travernation 198.
And there's Dave Leach getting the treatment from Carl Fogarty's oil. Carl Fogarty's oil all over him, causing all sorts of troubles for all sorts of riders. Mackenzie first and now Leach. And Joey Dunlop at University on lap 2, eking out a much larger lead over the Nortons. Joey on the charge, he wants to win this race. Second Nation, third Dunlop. And here's Joey, look, he's not even using all the road, got lots in hand compared with the Nortons on the turns, into the Ballysally roundabout for the second time. Look how smooth this man rides. Joey Dunlop, a very, very smooth and stylish rider, looks over his shoulder to see where the Nortons are. They won't be so far behind when we get to the end of this straight, I can assure you. But they are. Joey still leads. Even the excessive power of the Nortons can't catch this man on the roads. At Metropole, Joey Dunlop leads from Travernation, from Robert Dunlop. No problems there with the smoke of the Nortons. That is not a problem. And my mistake, that's Robert Dunlop through to second place, Nation in third. So, Brothers Dunlop, first and second, Honda and Norton. Joey through the twisty section at Juniper Chicane. Looking every bit an ex-world champion on the roads, isn't he? The Honda superior handling, lack of performance perhaps on such a fast track, but he's making up for it in the turns at the start and finish chicane. Joey with lots of room to spare. At this stage, it looked as if Joey Dunlop had this race in the bag, and he was looking for his first win of the day as he exits the start and finish chicane yet again. Doesn't matter what the Nortons seem to want to do, they cannot catch the flying Joey Dunlop. Let's look at the style of the man in slow motion. It is absolute poetry. He is the expert on road circuits, the undisputed king of the roads. And here are the Dunlop brothers on the last lap, down into station. Oh, and Robert Dunlop looks for the inside and they nearly touch. Norton versus Honda. Norton have more power, Honda have better handling, and Robert has made it past on power. Well, there you go. Power makes prizes, so they say. Joey Dunlop looking for the outside line. Joey on a tighter line, whereas Robert has to put the Norton right out on the hard shoulder coming into the roundabout. This is really where the power should show when they exit this roundabout, but is Joey going to show his brother the way round? No, he's not on this occasion. So the Norton is out onto the straight, where it is best at home. And at Metropole, Robert Dunlop leads by a substantial margin now as the Norton stretches its lead just on sheer power, 190 miles an hour down here into the town at Metropole, trying to get it all straightened up for the left-hand turn. Joey closes up on the brakes, again showing the superior handling of the Honda. Smoky Norton, that's okay, they like that to lubricate the roads on these motors. I was a poet and didn't know it, and Robert Dunlop leads. Up Black Hill for the last time, Joey Dunlop. And there's Trevor Nation showing us just how good he is in third place. This man superb on roads and on short circuits, warming up for the day's events in this first 750 race. And there's a surprise. Robert Dunlop leads by a mile. Brother Joey is out with a broken chain. So, Robert Dunlop on course for a record amount of wins here this week. This will be his second win, as long as he can make it through the next chicane, the start and finish chicane, from his teammate, Trevor Nation, who is on the other Norton in second place. Robert Dunlop completes the 9.2 mile lap to win the first 750cc race of the day. Well, that poses a question when Norton last had a 1-2 on a road circuit.
I couldn't see very well, and then with the rain and that, and then I says, dare I wipe it with a glove, because you know it might smear, but I gave it a wee wiping. Here, that's okay, so I got it cleaned, and after that then, that's whenever I started pulling Joey. For I couldn't even stay below the screen getting up the straight. It was laggard, it was too dangerous.
Well, that visor problem worked definitely in your favour, because we lost Fogarty and we lost Mackenzie, Leach and various others with visor problems that were pulling into the pit. But I don't think it would have been any different to you.
Well, I don't know. I'm out there to race, so I just race away whatever happens.
Trevor Nation, second place man. Another good ride, working it way through from the back there, mate.
Yeah, it's JPS 1-2, which is quite good, obviously, and Obviously looking for a win here, which is eluding me at the minute, but this year I've finished, which is more than I normally do, so I'm quite pleased, really.
Well, of course, you set pole position time, so, I mean, obviously there's a little bit of room for improvement. Difficult conditions out there at the moment with the weather and obviously a bit of oil about.
That's right, yeah, there's quite a lot of oil coming out the back of Carl Fogarty's bike, and I managed to get in front of him just past, I don't know, the end of the straight there somewhere, and just wave him off because it was just blowing out so much oil and stuff on my visor and screen and that, and I mean, that didn't help, actually. Trying to see where you're going at sort of 180 mile an hour is quite difficult enough without having a load of oil and muck all over your visor and screen, you know, but like I say, JPS Norton won too, so that's pretty good for us.
Are you going to stick your neck out and give us a prediction for the main race of the day?
Well, obviously, I'm looking for the win. Wouldn't you be?
Trevor Nation putting Keith Hewan in his place. You know, one of the great features for the many crowds who flock here from Britain and Europe is the chance to wander around the paddock and admire the machines, the factory bikes and the private ones as well. And on Friday night, before race day, there was a chance to look at the old and the new. Welcome back to the finishing straight here at the Northwest 200. Now, this is only the second year when they've included a 125cc race in the programme. Some people call it the flight of the bumblebees. What's more, they're all Hondas.
And viewing the 125 race is the Lady Mayor of Coleraine, Toy Black. Coleraine Council being great supporters of the Northwest 200 as the 125 race gets underway. And number 81, David Lemon, gets an absolute flying start from 5th place on the grid. Brilliant start up Primrose Hill. Down into York Hairpin for the first time, and David Lemon leads. Number 11 from 47, that's James Courtney from Crumlin. Tucks in nicely behind him in the bottom gear corner. Up Mill Road and out into the countryside for the first time on this 125 race. Of course, the 400s have already cleared off. They started 30 seconds before these 125s. It's the first time here at the Northwest that we've had mixed races. Lap 1 down into Station Road, and the slipstream in effect on 125s even more important than the 250 races we saw earlier. Down into University, and it's Robert Dunlop forces his way through. Dunlop came from nowhere to force his way through on the first lap at University. And while the backmarkers sort themselves out, Robert Dunlop is looking for his third win of the day, which will be a double hat-trick. 3 last year, 3 this year, and that will be a record for the man. Robert Dunlop leads from an ever-charging David Lemon, who looks for the outside line around the roundabout. I doubt if he'll ever make that move on a fellow like Robert Dunlop. And as the 125s stream out into the countryside for the first time, the 400s who started earlier should be down at Metropole by now, charging into Metropole. And here we are with the 400s, and Carl Fogarty 144 is on the inside line, and Carl Fogarty is determined as ever down into Metropole, forcing his way over David Leach, turns him very hard across the front of him, and Carl Fogarty is wide. Carl Fogarty clips the curb, and Fogarty is well and truly off. That's the end of his 400 race and the end of his 400 motorcycle by the looks of it. And here we are in slow motion. Well, Carl Fogarty had absolutely no chance of saving this. He got out in the dusty stuff. The curb didn't really matter. He would have been off anyway. He can only thank his lucky stars that it's the bike that hit the opposite curb. Fogarty completely okay, but the same can't be said for his motorcycle. And we're back with the 125 action down at Metropole, slipstreaming all of the way, and it's Michael Topping who's forced his way to the front, denying Robert Dunlop of that first place. Dunlop in second place, number 44, Michael Topping leads. Through Church as they stream their way up Black Hill and out onto the seafront. Through Juniper, and that man Robert Dunlop has forced his way through to the front on the seafront and has eked out an almighty lead in such a short distance. Brother Joey back there in 7th place. Robert Dunlop at the start and finish chicane in front of Michael Topping and Chris Palmer. Robert Dunlop never to be headed again throughout this race, stamped his authority all over the 125 race and basically blew the opposition into the weeds. Let's have a look at the few safety improvements that have been made here at the Northwest in recent years. This particular part of the course wasn't here 10 years ago when I rode here. It's been added to make this particular dangerous corner, Juniper Hill, much, much, much safer. I think most riders don't like chicanes, but this one is one that they all think was worthwhile at the time. A second chicane was added here at the start and finish, again for safety, just to slow the riders down on this dangerous part of the course. Road racing is a little bit more dangerous than circuit racing, and obviously every safety improvement is well worthwhile. After the start and finish chicane, the riders wind their way up Primrose Hill and out towards the York Hairpin. It looks quite tight here as far as our shot is concerned, but this corner is absolutely flat out on a superbike. To the top of the hill, 120 miles an hour, and braking now down into the York Hairpin, where they rounded at about 20 miles an hour and back out into the countryside. Meanwhile, the end of the 400 race is in sight, and Dave Leach has it sewn up. Dave Leach leads at the last chicane from Steve Ives and from Brian Reed. So that means a hat-trick for Yamaha. They'll be very pleased about that. But the main interest is with Robert Dunlop. 3rd win of the day, 2nd successive hat-trick in 2 years.
I had to wait for the last race last year to do it, so it's just now 125 race. My mechanic said to me to just make a break and then make it easy for yourself instead of hanging on among them, so that's what I did, and it worked quite well.
Of course, it should never be forgotten that the Northwest 200 is an international event. We've sent our own international, Nigel Carr, out and about in the Northwest Triangle to savour the atmosphere.
For many of the Northwest enthusiasts this weekend, they'll be greeted by the friendly smile of a landlady and homely accommodation of a bed and breakfast, or alternatively, the en-suite luxury of a hotel and the a la carte cuisine that goes with it. For me as an amateur rugby player, I was never allowed to accept winnings or take any money from the game. But prior to the big matches, we always got the best treatment in the top hotels. Surely it's the same for the riders taking part in this international event. But is it? I asked a local rider making his first appearance at the Northwest, Trevor Scott. Where do you stay when you're up for a race like this?
Well, we have the van and stuff get it there, so we stay inside the van. We have all the cooking facilities and everything inside the van, so we just stay there and travel about.
Well, many of the fellas stay in vans.
Everybody usually stays in vans. There's just the top works teams who use hotels and things.
Not exactly the Ritz of the Plaza. Is it suitable preparation for a big race like this?
Well, you get used to it. It's one of those things that you sort of learn to live with, but it's better when you're there. You get into the mood of the thing and you stay in the van. It sort of keeps you in the racing frame of mind.
How important is a race like the Northwest in your season?
It's one of the most important races in the year because it is international status and it's where all the sponsors will be looking out for riders, and it gives a chance to display all your sponsors. It gives them a show, and there's more people at that than there would be any other race of the year.
You mentioned your sponsors. How many people are behind you to get you and your bike on the road?
Well, we do a lot of preparation and stuff ourselves. We wouldn't be running as a works team, but my family help out with bits and pieces whenever you're sort of getting it tight now. And lots of other people just put ads in the van.
And what about the cost of an event like this? How much does it cost you?
Well, the race itself, if everything goes well, it's costing you sort of over £1,000. So it is, but between entries, and the Korean club were good enough to give us free entries and things like that, but sort of out of your own pocket, it costs you about £1,000 from start to finish, you know.
Lap speeds now, Trevor, are averaging from 100 to 120 plus miles an hour. Do the dangers ever enter your mind?
Well, you'd be silly if the dangers didn't enter your mind, but they are there, and you've a lot of pre-race nerves. But being the first time, you had yourself wound up that it was crazy, like going out here. But when you go out to do it, it's no different driving up the road at 100 miles an hour. It's just everyone's going at you a little bit faster.
With the discomfort, cost, and the risks that are involved, well, why do you do it?
Well, that's my way of going mad.
And this Regal 600 race is a way to prove that you are mad. Number 9 there, Philip McCallan leads off the line from 21, Jim Moody, the Scotsman. Into York Hairpin for the first time, McCallan leads from Jim Moody, 21. Mark Farmer, number 10, squeezes up the inside of Jim Moody. And Mark Farmer, being the ex-Kawasaki rider, now riding a Harris Yamaha to some effect. Out of York Hairpin for the first time into the countryside.
York Hairpin. Second group down there now.
And look at this, down towards Station Bend. Look at the dust blowing off the path. These bikes are moving some air. University corner, and McCallan leads. Number 9, Philip McCallan. Mark Farmer, number 10, goes up the outside and outbrakes himself. Well, he won't be too proud about that. No mistakes from this man, Philip McCallan, edging some lead, using all of the track and a little bit more into the Ballysally roundabout. Heading out now towards the fastest part of the course, Jim Moody in second place. 600 streaming out towards the curb. Metropole. This is the fastest part of the course, and look at them jockeying for position down here through the speed trap, slipstreaming each other, trying to get an advantage into Metropole corner. And who's it going to be entering into the corner first? And McCallan looks for the inside line. Number 15, that's Steve Ives making a superb move on McCallan, but McCallan forces his way through. He's not having any nonsense from these riders today. McCallan leads. Number 16 now, Leslie McMaster from Bangor through into second place, followed by Steve Ives from Cheshire. Along the seafront, along to Juniper Hill, into the chicane, and out of the chicane, and that looks like McCallan's dropped back to third place now. Is it McMaster in front or Ives in front? We'll soon find out as they approach the start and finish chicane. And it's Steve Ives. Steve Ives leads from McMaster, leads from McCallan. Number 2 there, Dave Leach getting a look in fourth place. Dave Leach, a favourite on the 600s. Where's that man, Brian Reed? Brian Reed, a favourite again on the Regal 600, won many races at this class. And we've moved right on to the penultimate lap. Bob Jackson has forced his way through to the front, but McCallan is not going to let him get away with it. Steve Ives in third place. Ballysally roundabout. All the action is likely to happen on the next straight down towards Metropole. This breakaway bunch now a long way in front of the second wave. And here we see the Port Rush end of the circuit triangle at Metropole corner. And McCallan is in the lead from Steve Ives, from Bob Jackson. Superb stuff from Philip McCallan. Forces his way through at Church Corner here and up Black Hill and under the bridge. Into Juniper Hill chicane, and McCallan still leads. Out of Juniper Hill chicane, and he still leads. Ives in second place, number 15. Bob Jackson in third place. Into the start and finish chicane, and McCallan leads from Steve Ives, from Bob Jackson. Superb riding from Philip McCallan. On to the last lap. Up Primrose Hill, just 9.2 miles to go. Well, it's still anybody's race as they head down towards York, and Steve Ives from Cheshire is putting all the pressure on Philip McCallan. front wheel skittering on the bumps here.
Behind him, toughest, Johnny Ray.
Second gear, first gear, and up the hill.
Well, once again, Harold, an absolutely storm.
And here we are at the next fierce braking point on the course. University Corner. Bob Jackson now in second place, trying to make a move on McCallan. McCallan has it in hand. We're on our last lap. Along the link towards the Ballysally roundabout. McCallan very wide and out in the dust. McCallan, a very determined man indeed. Now then, it remains to be seen whether he can hold his lead on the next straight out towards Mather's Cross. Slipstreaming being a very important part of such a fast course as the Northwest 200. You saw him right out on the curb there, trying to get as much drive as he could onto this straight. And there we go, he hasn't been able to hold it. Bob Jackson is through, but McCallan's challenge is on the outside, and he leans on Bob Jackson and shocks him into submission. Bob Jackson certainly suffered from that, and Steve Ives taking advantage of that particular manoeuvre. Well, Bob Jackson, the poor relation of some pushing and shoving there, through Church, up Black Hill, and onto the seafront for the last time. And still they're locked together as they arrive at Juniper Hill. Through Juniper Hill chicane, who's going to lead out of this? This is very critical. McCallan's in front from Steve Ives, from Bob Jackson. Really, I can't see another passing manoeuvre going on here. McCallan really does look as if he's a determined man, local man, getting waves from the crowd. So, through the start and finish chicane, Philip McCallan leads Steve Ives from Bob Jackson. So, a great win and a great day for Philip McCallan. And this is where I think he actually won the race. I mean, a superb move down the outside, really, really very, very determined. Leant very hard on the outside of Bob Jackson and gave Bob Jackson no room for braking. Steve Ives being able to take the advantage as well. Although McCallan was very wide coming out of there, he got the drive up the hill here at Black Hill and really couldn't be headed from that point on.
Blown up.
Well, absolutely brilliant, Philip. You made your way to the front of that one. You don't look very happy about it, though, I've got to say.
I'm real happy because we've been working so hard on this bike all year and we finally got it nearly right now, so I'm happy. I mixed up from the 750 when it blew up in the race before this,
So you won't be out in the second 750 race then?
I don't know. The boys are working on it flat out now to see if they can get us some sort of engine together, but I'm pleased for everybody. I think I have a lot of people to thank for this. The mechanics, the sponsors, Torkingtons, Honda, everybody. So it's a big effort from everyone.
Was there anywhere on the track where you actually thought you were going to get it? Because at one time, anybody could have won it.
Well, I played it very steady and tried to work it all out to the last for a really hard lap, so...
You must have a brain like a computer to work that lot out, the way they were carrying on.
It was tough, but I enjoyed it.
Actually, Philip McCallan's phrase there, tough but enjoyable, probably sums it up for all the many hundreds of people who are involved in organising this event. The man behind the clock of the course, Billy Nutt. Speed of 114.55 miles per hour. Now, one Englishman never to win here is three-times world champion Carl Fogarty. Despite that, he really enjoys himself when he comes over, and he's often said that the fans here are among the best in British racing. 70,000 of them come down and descend in the quiet town of Portrush. Nigel Carr's been finding out what that means to the people of here.
A bird's eye view of Northern Ireland's most popular tourist coastline. It's a busy, bustling hive of activity during the summer months. But right now, it's just stirring after a peaceful winter hibernation. Just a spot for a peaceful weekend. Southend, Brighton or Blackpool might dread the boys back in town, But how does Coleraine Borough Council view the bikers?
I think that we do have perhaps an image problem with the traditional biker. Sometimes people may find them intimidating, and there is certainly a certain amount of vandalism that goes on during this period. That happens when you have any large group of people together in one place. I think it's unavoidable.
Unavoidable problems, but many advantages also.
Obviously, it brings many, many people whom we would never see from one end of the year to the other, and they fill bed spaces in hotels and guest houses, self-catering, even the caravan sites. The traders do very well. You'll not find a bed in this area during Northwest Weekend.
Hotels like the Edgewater doing very nicely, but owner Kevin O'Malley believes in give and take, so he's sponsor of the Supersport 400.
In the past, every year, we always do very well from it. The bedrooms, the bar, the dining room, they all benefit greatly from it. So I think we should put something back into it because it's a good, it's a good cause.
So you're expecting to be fairly busy in the Northwest Weekend?
We'll be chock-a-block, yeah. It'll be 3 or 4 nights of just good business.
How long do people book in advance for these rooms?
It's amazingly at the end of this weekend, on the day they're all leaving, probably 2/3 of the rooms will be booked again a year in advance.
What sort of person do you find stays in your hotel? Is it the out-and-out biker, or is it the man with his family in the Ford Sierra?
It's just the man with the Sierra. The bikers, I don't really know. I mean, I haven't seen sort of biking gangs around the area for the race. They might be here, I haven't come across them yet. But no, the people we have are just sort of race enthusiasts, I think, who enjoy the sport. And
so you haven't had anybody riding up the stairs in a bike or changing an engine in the dining room?
No, I haven't caught them anyway.
Not this year,
Not
anyway?
this year, no.
Some of the rescue
We're talking to some of the fans here at the Northwest 200. They all say that there are moments of excitement and drama in just about every race for them. But there's always anticipation for the last one. It is, of course, the Superbikes back in the grid. £4,000 at stake here for the rider who can lead from start to finish. Keith, would you bet against Robert Dunlop?
Who'd bet against this man when he's looking for his 4th and record individual win? Mind you, brother Joey, he'll be looking for it as well, and the Norton is the quickest in practice. Trevor Nation, number 5, is the fastest man, sits on the pole next to teammate Robert Dunlop, and they're off on this Northwest 200 Superbike race. And a second wave of slightly slower riders moving forward there. You can see number 35 in the background, Trevor Scott. We had a few words with him earlier, waiting for the start of the second wave race. Meanwhile, back at the front, and it looks like Nation. Angular, aggressive, very, very destructive when it comes to motorcycles and anything in their way. Heads through York Corner, determined to win this race from his teammate, Robert Dunlop.
Very, very shortly indeed. Rodney McCurdy there. Also.
Here we are down towards the station, and Nation is not going to be headed. The Norton will not be outcharged when it comes to a straight line. It might be outhandled, but it won't be outdriven. I know this man, Nation, as he heads down into University. He is a very, very determined man. He's never won this race, but he looks odds-on to have a go at this one at the moment. Robert Dunlop being taken there on the inside. Robert running a little wide into University. So Nation leads from that man, Carl Fogarty. Let's hope his motorcycle holds together. Honda really being damned by their machine problems this weekend. The Norton, which is known to be slightly less reliable than the Honda generally, has basically blown the Honda into the weeds. Joey Dunlop there in 4th place. His Honda has given no problems. He works on his own motorcycles. And here is the view from Metropole as they thunder down the fastest part of the track, downhill, down into the village, past the speed trap. And look at Carl Fogarty's bike. It's as fast as the Norton's. What on earth has Carl Fogarty's bike had done to it? Or what on earth has he had for breakfast? Carl Fogarty aggressive on the brakes, tried to go down the inside and out brakes Trevor Nation. That's a manoeuvre that doesn't often get them. But Trevor Nation finds the extra drive and drives immediately underneath Carl Fogarty. This looks like it's going to be a ding-dong battle. We've been waiting for Carl Fogarty to be amongst these boys, but he's suffered so many breakdowns this weekend that this is his first opportunity. Nation leads from number 2, Carl Fogarty, from Robert Dunlop, number 4, into Juniper. Joey Dunlop holding up the rear there in 4th place, but you can never discount this man, and he's very, very quick on this section. But meanwhile, Fogarty looks for the outside line around Nation, but Nation slams the door shut, and you wouldn't get through a Norton. down into the start and finish chicane, and sure enough, Trevor Nation, number 5, leads on the Norton from Carl Fogarty, from Robert Dunlop, from Joey Dunlop, but it's not finished yet. Carl Fogarty leads out of the chicane. Well, I'm sure this is going to go to the wire, that is for sure. Big wheelie there from Robert Dunlop. Number 33, that's one of our foreign riders. He's riding a Bimota Yamaha, which is a wonderful piece of equipment. Martin Grein from West Germany. And we're on to lap 3 at the link. Robert Dunlop leads Trevor Nation, and where's that man Carl Fogarty? He's gone missing. Carl Fogarty missing at the roundabout. Joey Dunlop was back in 3rd. I just about saw him in picture. Robert Dunlop heads out into the countryside, again onto the fastest part of the track, followed by his teammate. And there is Carl Fogarty, number 2, smoking motorcycle. Well, they say they always go fast before they blow up, and that Honda was going exceedingly fast. Back at Metropole, and here's Nation, number 5. And where's Robert Dunlop gone? Nation on his own. Well, high drama here in the Northwest 200. Smoke from the back of Nation's bike, don't worry about that. All the Nortons do it, it's lubricating their rotors. Trevor Nation needs his rotors lubricating as he goes around Church Corner, followed by Joey, who's pursuing him. Joey Dunlop is now taking up the mantle of his brother and chasing on the Honda. Robert has actually failed at Mathers Cross with loose wiring, believe it or not, so a failure for Norton. Well, I suppose that's Honda 2 failures, Norton 1 at the moment. Back with Trevor Nation, race leader through Juniper. He really gets angry with these motorcycles. They don't get the better of him at all as he drives almost across the curbs there. Not a lot to worry about. A big lead by Trevor Nation at the moment, but Joey Dunlop is chasing on the Honda. Nation leads from Joey Dunlop. Into the start and finish chicane. A little bit wide there from Trevor. Probably a little bit anxious to win this race. Across the line again, you can hear the Norton absolutely getting lots of stick, but Joey Dunlop is closing. There's no doubt about that. Joey Dunlop is putting on a charge. This looks like the battle for 3rd place, and that is Ian Simpson from Dave Leach. So we've got a battle on for 3rd place as well now. A race in 2 stages. Joey Dunlop and Trevor Nation at the front, Dave Leach and Ian Simpson for 3rd and 4th. Back at station, last lap. Number 5, Trevor Nation, doing what the Norton knows best, being the fastest in a straight line. But this man, Joey Dunlop, pursuing for all he knows. So Trevor Nation leads on the 190 miles an hour Norton, lapping at 122 miles an hour lap average over the 9.2 mile circuit. That is not hanging about. Some 12 miles an hour down in a straight line speed is Joey Dunlop on the Honda, but it's better handling, so the difference is cancelled out. Along the link, Trevor Nation into the Ballygally roundabout for the last time of the Northwest 200 race. Nation squirts it right. You heard it on the rev limiter there as he snatches the gears, tries to keep away from the curbs and the slippery stuff. He seems to have this race in the bag, barring any problems, like his teammate Robert Dunlop. And there's Nation trying to button his visor down at Metropole. Some problem there with his visor. That'll teach him to look over his shoulder. Sometimes they flick up when you do that. Nation through the seafront section. Or up to the seafront section as he heads now. Black Hill. Very popular win this, his first win at the Northwest 200. Trevor Nation, number 5, wrestles the Norton one way, then the other. There's a good look round to see where that man Joey Dunlop is. He'll be aware that Joey is closing on the last lap, has another anxious look round. Trevor Nation leads on the last bend and wins the 1991 Northwest 200, closely followed by the valiant efforts of Joey Dunlop. What a great day's racing.
Yeah, and I'm bloody crying, I tell you, it's brilliant. Like halfway through, I thought Robert overtook me and he had a bit more speed, and I thought, I don't know whether I can do this or not, and I tried to keep with him, and then he broke down, so yeah, really good.
You saw Robert break down, did you? Whereabouts was that?
Yeah, that was on the run out of the roundabout there. He was just getting away, and then he just packed up, put his hand up, so...
Well, a little bit of good luck to you. Joey Dunlop obviously put up a bit of a valiant fight, but it looked like you were controlling it from the front. Any moments at all?
Not really, you know. I mean, the last lap and a half, really, I had sort of +5 and then +7, and I'm just thinking, well, you know, what's going to go wrong? I'm changing gear early and all this, you know, and I'm really pleased. You know.
A memory that will live with Trevor Nation for many a year indeed. And once again, the Northwest 200 has provided all of us with rich memories. Keith, your memory of the day?
I think basically it just goes to show the Northwest 200 how hard it is to win and how easy it is sometimes. Basically, Trevor Nation didn't look like he was going to be able to do the business through machine failure and others. He managed to pull it off on the day. But I think the main memory for me on the day was Robert Dunlop. 3 wins again this year. Just fantastic. It's so hard to put it together consistently like that on a track like this.
And of course, every time you come back here, Keith, you must cast your mind back to your victory in the international race.
It was the first international race I ever won, which was it was the Moran's Northwest 200 in 1980, so it's a long time ago for me. But this is, believe it or not, only the second time I've been to the track, so yeah, for sure, it brings back very happy memories.
OK, Keith, a chance to relive the memories. We've got him a bike and a helmet. From all of us here at the Northwest, we bid you goodbye and wish Keith all the best as he goes around the track again.
Adrian Graham, will you please go to your room?
I'm out there to race, so I just race away whatever happens.